Welcome to the Shaun K podcast with me, your host, Shaun K. This is episode 1, the very first of what I hope to be many conversations, transmissions, explorations of our human experience, of human consciousness. I have had the pleasure and privilege of working with and sitting with so many wonderful wisdom keepers, custodians, leaders, and just heart-centered human beings that genuinely, authentically, passionately want the very best for every single one of us and for our entire planet. So this first episode, the first full-length episode, is from my heart to yours. And it's really to encapsulate why we're here, why you found yourself here listening to me, and hopefully seeing this journey through, whether it's in one sitting or over a number of sittings, whether you're driving in the car, whether you're working, whether you're at the gym. Please, I ask you, I invite you to really sit with and not just hear me with your ears, but hear me with your heart and soul. Feel the transmission of what I'm sharing. It's very dear to my heart, and I feel and believe that if you can give it the attention and awareness that I'm asking, you'll receive so much more than just listening to a podcast. This episode in particular, I've actually been sitting on for about 4 years. I've kept it locked away under lock and key in my heart. And it's actually been there out of fear of what people think, out of fear of judgment, of criticism, of rejection, because I thought it was too much. I thought it was going to be over people's heads. And there's some part of me that wanted to play small and didn't want to own and show up what I was receiving, what I was seeing, what I was feeling. But now I know, after facilitating over 25 retreats, working with thousands of different people in different formats, whether that be coaching, mentoring, teaching, retreats, this message I know is loud and clear for the majority, if not the entire human population, especially those of us who are awake or who are waking up. And if that all sounds a little bit woo-woo and gibberish for you, I encourage you, lean in right now and listen. Feel with your heart, feel with your soul what I'm sharing with you today. Because I believe that we are going through an incredible, rapid transformation of human consciousness here on planet Earth. What we've been through as a collective in the last 4 or so years has been truly transformational, galactic, cosmic, beyond words. When you think back 2020, 2021, 2022, what we had to experience as a species, as human beings, as those of us with a logical brain, a rational brain, a prefrontal cortex, a thinking brain, to comprehend or begin to understand what we have been experiencing like never before, the pain, the turmoil, the suffering. But what's it all been for? Why have we been through this big dark night of the soul? And if you're like me, there's been many of those moments over the last 4 or 5 years where there's been some very big abrupt endings, some very challenging circumstances that have forced us, called us to grow and evolve. And it's led us to where we are today. And I really feel we're coming out of that shadow. We're coming out of that cave that we've been in, of unknown, of uncertainty, of unprecedented change. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can really see it and feel it. And I believe in every single one of us, every single one of you listening. I believe that amazing things are coming if you're willing to stay the course. Because when something evolves, it must build upon what nature has already produced. And my fundamental belief is that that's what we've been going through as a humanity. Is we'd grown to a point, we'd got comfortable. Life was, I wouldn't say easy, but it was comfortable. Everything is at our fingertips now. Knowledge, healthcare, connection to other people. Everything is like at the fingertips, right in our hands, even as far as with our devices. Anything you need, you can almost get through an iPhone now. But it's actually taken us away from our true nature, which is connected to nature, to Mother Earth, to Gaia. And the more we've become influenced by the technology, the more we've lost our way. And what I see happening on a grand scale at the moment in 2024 is a lot of these old ways, these old patriarchal ways, these systems are being brought to light. And we're seeing it right in front of our face like this. And it's actually a part of us. Everything we're seeing, war, crime, poverty, abuse, violence, separation is where this comes from. It is where the mind believes that we are separate from one another. We are separate from nature. We're separate from spirit. And that separation is what is causing this pain, this turmoil, this loneliness that I believe a huge proportion of our population are experiencing, is the feeling of being lonely, of being separate, of not belonging. We have these fundamental needs of belonging, of safety, of security, of love, ultimately of community. This is what our soul's calling out for. And this is what has now driven me to the point of releasing my podcast. I've played around with names and I've thought about the perfect imagery and the colors and all of these things that are actually irrelevant. The guests that I'm connecting with on my podcast are earth warriors. They are leaders. They're sacred leaders and custodians and guardians of our planet. They're soul family that if you listen to the episodes that I record, you will resonate deep within your DNA, because we're all finding each other. And I believe this podcast that I've created is a transmission to connect with everybody beyond race, beyond religion, beyond culture, beyond skin color, beyond identity. It weaves it all together to this thread of we are humanity. We are a soul experiencing the universe. Excuse the itchy third eye, or maybe it's just my nose. So welcome to the Shaun K podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for arriving at this moment. This first chapter of the podcast, the first season, I guess you could call it, that I'm in, that has taken 4 years to bring together. And if you're here listening now, please subscribe, like, share, because it is an incredible amount of work to bring a podcast to the airwaves. You don't understand that process. It's a large amount of work, and it's done as a labor of love for most people like me. Not sponsorship, not paid, not royalties, none of those things. That's not what drives me. What's driving me is to get this message out there to my community. So please like, subscribe, share this video, share these episodes, and stay connected. This first season is about Earth Warriors. And this was inspired by a beautiful woman and dear sister that I just love her work and I love her essence, Alana Fairchild. She has a beautiful oracle deck of cards called the Sacred Earth Warriors deck. And that was really when this journey of mine, my soul's calling, cracked open. And everything that I've received and participated in and been a part of over the last 5 or so years was a result of that. That was a big part of my journey. And so by the end of the episode today, I'm actually going to, excuse me while I bend down, I'm actually going to read, which I'll do regularly on my podcast, some of my journal entries from this time working with the Earth Warriors deck. It really is a transmission. It's a sacred, sacred transmission. And so I'd like to really summarize what the Earth Warriors is all about, what the movement that I'm believing in is all about. And it's a paraphrase or an adaptation of Alana Fairchild's work that really has inspired me to do the work that I'm doing. So please take a couple of deep breaths. Settle in. Take a few more deep breaths as I begin and I share with you what this Earth Warriors season is all about. Earth Warriors are a part of the new spiritual generation. We're a unique soul family united by shared qualities rather than age, culture, gender, religion, or philosophy. Earth Warriors are particularly respectful and honoring of the sacred feminine in the form of Mother Earth, Pachamama or Gaia. We are kind and loving, especially towards animals, humans, and all of the natural world that requires our protection from abusers of power. Earth Warriors are a beautiful combination of gentleness, wisdom, and tenacity, and a sacred rage that gives us the courageous voice and enough awareness to stand up and make the truth known by shining their light unconditionally. This may be through activism, education, or sharing information about worldly agendas, the truth behind advertising, or unethical business practices. Earth Warriors are truth speakers and freedom fighters, and it is loving kindness that motivates us to be the sacred rebels, to be the creators of this brand new earth that we are ushering in together. Earth Warriors are guardians and light bearers of this new world. We are birthing a new human culture based on the sacred wisdom of protection, connection, respect, love, and spiritual ceremony. We have total commitment and awareness of the ancient rites of passage, rituals, and initiations that provide the intelligence that we need for living in harmony. We see straight through the false glitter of status and materialistic dogma. We only care about what is real for the soul, what is real for our essence. We prioritize relationships and the support of our tribe above money and worldly possessions. And because of this, we have spiritual empowerment. We emit a high frequency energy, a certain type of heart light that reflects to humanity what truly matters. We hold the power of certainty that when we use our voice and we use our gifts, our hearts, and whatever else we have at our disposal for the greatest good of all, magic happens. Situations change, and we do not feel intimidated, nor silenced or isolated by the opposing forces of greed, hate, or fear. As an Earth Warrior, it is not just about keeping his or her patch clean and clear. We want to inspire, teach, protect, and encourage as many humans as possible to join this movement, to say no to what goes against the wisdom of the heart, Earth warriors. We are the soul conscious of humanity. And 4 years ago, I was drawn to creating a spiritual business that integrated the mind, the body, and the soul to share my own healing with the collective. And like many of you listening, I know you desire to be of service and to do the same. And after a significant journey, a dark night of the soul, I felt that I was being reborn. And I was discovering many truths that I felt called to share with my fellow human beings and my community. And it's taken time for me to integrate and share a lot of that gold that I was receiving because I didn't know if my people were ready. I didn't know if I was ready. But I was fortunate enough to cultivate the awareness and the perspective that the traditional Western model of education that I'd grown up in and health and life progression to become a functioning member of society was being deeply influenced by external forces that were aiming to control, manipulate, and suppress the true qualities of the human spirit. And I was feeling that. And I'm sure you were, if you reflect back, especially during COVID. Where did you feel that external energy trying to control and manipulate and suppress your spirit? So as I followed the universal signs and the messages that were being laid out on my path, I found myself detaching my identity from those systems, especially the education system where I was a teacher for 8 years. Because these systems had created so much pain, trauma, and limitation to my soul's journey. And along the way, I started to meet so many others who had suffered similarly in a program that was disconnected to spirit. That program we can refer to as the matrix, the system, the mundane, the ordinariness, the ordinary world. It's generally the comfort zone that we've grown up in and we've spent our whole life being conditioned to be a cog in the machine. And so after this big dark night of the soul in 2017 into 2019, I started to regain my sense of purpose. And I was doing a bit of teaching, not in the classroom, but in this capacity now, and spreading a message of love and compassion and self-empowerment and gratitude. And I witnessed the world around me changing. It was a breath of fresh air for my soul. And I felt this kinship with the wild and free spirit of this community that I was in. Because we were cheering for one another. Even when we didn't know why, we were cheering each other on and uplifting each other higher and higher. And then the musings of my retreat business started bubbling up. Uplift retreats, it was stirring. And during COVID, during lockdowns, when we're being told we can't gather, we can't dance, we can't experience life together, we've got to separate, we've got to divide, we've got to have distance. This is when my heart cracked open and I pursued the idea of running retreats in the southwest of Australia. And during COVID, I ran 10 to 12 retreats over that period of time. 15 to 20, 30 people on every retreat. And these were the people that were living to the beat of their own drum. And these experiences, these people that I was connecting with created such an unforgettable impression on me. Doctors, teachers, meditation coaches, monks, chiropractors, entrepreneurs, breath workers, parents, children. There was a very distinct energy that was resonating through every one of these people that was coming into these spaces as we were really walking together on a quest to make the world a better place by starting with ourselves. And so, like many of you listening, as a renegade, this black sheep of the family, this spiritual warrior who marches to the beat of my own drum, I could totally relate to these people I was meeting on this path. And although I have a strong sense of community, in many ways, I've always been quite a loner and a hermit. Like tonight, I'm at home alone, I'm in my little shaman space, and I'm recording, which I love. But I'd spent lots of time during, 2020 to 2024, and large portions of that I'd spent in solitude. And this suits me. It allows me time for contemplation, reflection, and this is when I download and have these new ideas. I love socializing and connecting with other people, but my own space, my own energy is a really big freedom for me. And so removing myself from society and going inward is just a weekly part of my lifestyle now. And I love it. But this community I've discovered and I've helped co-create has really intrigued me because in so many ways, we are different. But we're all very communal and community-centric, especially here in Margaret River where I live. And there's a sense that our entire tribe all over the planet, my teachers in Peru, my brothers and sisters on the east coast of Australia, I've got friends I've just been to Egypt with that are scattered all over the globe. It's like we're one spiritual body with many individual members, like a big organism. And in the same way the human body is made up of arms and legs and a brain and a heart, this tribal consciousness is like a soul body. It has all its unique parts, yet it is one. And so our values that I'm really celebrating in this first season of this podcast are of leaving no trace, of loving the earth and one another, of protecting Gaia, of protecting the mother, of supporting each other on our own individual journeys, on our own soul development, whether that be self-help, breath work, yoga, shamanism, teaching, tantric arts, music. There are so many ways that we can do this, and without judgment, if any at all, but instead cheering and supporting each other to shine. I've deeply been involved in many old systems, such as sport, education, healthcare, fitness, and a lot of these places where there's a lot of political control, toxic, masculinity and patriarchy and power games are rife everywhere. But within this Earth Warriors consciousness, we have so much genuine care for each other, so absent of ego that I truly feel we have discovered our soul tribe, a clan of wolf-hearted men, women, and children. And there's always going to be challenges to be dealt with, problems to be solved. There's going to be pain and struggle. They're a part of life. And even lives that are lived with monk-like awareness are going to experience some pain. However, this community is one of the healthiest human ecosystems. And you being here listening are a part of it. This is something special, one of the most incredible things that I've encountered. And I've been all over the world for many years, meeting different people who claim to be spiritually involved. But I love how Earth Warriors rarely claim to be anything more than a family that is based in love, respect, collaboration, and sharing this beautiful life. And so over time, I've learned to recognize the frequency of this tribe. And as I dropped into different groups in various locations around the world, I found this vibration resonating. From Ubud in Bali to Carragini to Machu Picchu to the Mesquita in Cordoba in Spain and just recently in Egypt. Beyond all boundaries, this tribal consciousness is there. It's a global movement, and it's something that is not just specific to one location. I've attempted to connect to the reasons why we're finding each other. Perhaps we're from the same star galaxy, but really, we're just meant to be here together at this time. We're a collective consciousness. We instinctively recognize that if we allow the current power trippers and egalitarians, aka politicians and leaders, to determine our values and tell us what we should think and feel, and that where we place time and money and energy above everything else, all that is precious will undoubtedly be destroyed. And that's why I'm so inspired now to really integrate my mission, my purpose work. Because the ancient wisdom has spoken of this time for millennia. If you talk to the indigenous elders around the planet, they all have a story that weaves together into what we're experiencing: the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the shadow and the light. Okay, that's, we're going through this big polarity adjustment as our planet shifts into a cycle that it hasn't been in for, I think it's 26,000 years, is what we talk about in the Andes with the Pachacuti. It's a turning over of time every 26,000 years. I think it's been, about 12,800 years since the Younger Dryas, since the last giant flood, which was a huge cataclysmic event on the planet that obviously altered the reality here. And if you talk to these wisdom keepers, there's something like that coming. But what I actually believe it is, the apocalypse that we're experiencing is of the mind. The mind is going through a cataclysm. The ego is going through a cataclysm as our awareness and our consciousness descends back into the heart wisdom, back into the body. And actually in the solar plexus ganglia is really coming online as our power center, as our operating system, where we can almost feel and intuit everything. Words may not even be necessary. And so this ancient wisdom has talked about this for millennia. In all the old traditions, it speaks of this time, and it forewarned us that humans could create irreversible damage. And if we don't make this leap or transition back into caring for the Earth Mother, respecting her, being in sacred reciprocity, then like this paradigm shift is real. It's not a dramatic grab for attention that I'm sharing here, but the thing that we're going through is really we need to come back to living in harmony. And it's not about being desperate, blaming anybody. It's actually not even about pointing the finger at the powers that be that are making these poor decisions, but we've got to be creative. This is an invitation to come together for the co-creation of a harmonious planet and ultimately a thriving life, a thriving ecosystem. It's going to take time, but that's what I believe we are here for as Earth Warriors. Because this movement of Earth Warriors, we opt out of too much materialism, consumerism, and anxiety-inducing comparison and status. That's very, hierarchical. We don't like that. We're not about that. We choose to be real. We choose to feel, to honor our souls and to live from the heart. We don't feel the need to live up to any false expectations that are imposed on us by a sick social system. And this is something that I struggle with, of this social media world. It has so many positives, but it's got just as many negatives. And we're in this system that is actually influenced by a small minority who do not have power over us. We can't give our power away. And these are those people who are ultimately our weakest link. They are ultimately our weakest link, and we've got to send them so much love and compassion. But when we fly together, we will cast a shadow over their disgusting ways so it can't survive anymore. We'll be flying so high that we will just blanket and eliminate through love, through activism, through conscious co-creation. And we'll create our own spiritual standards and we'll encourage one another without shaming or guilting anyone. We'll be accepting, but we'll hold firm in our boundaries and be based on what matters most to us. Us earth warriors are the saviors, the guides, the protectors, and the wise way showers who carry the eagle vision and the medicine of the wolf clan that ensures our future crystalline generations of beautiful children will have a home that is worth protecting, and we'll do it together. So through being a part of this journey, listening to this podcast, being involved in what we're creating together, this is a training experience. This is where you can find comfort, encouragement, sacred wisdom, and soul nourishment through integrating the mind, the body, and the soul through spiritual practice and embodiment. The people that are on here, the teachers, the wisdom keepers, the guardians, these are inspired visionaries. These are leaders for this vision that I'm talking about. So if you can allow this space, this community online, to be a place that reinforces the value and the worth of our intuition and the inner guiding wisdom of our spirit, it will constantly remind us that we have the power to protect, to heal, create, and regenerate our own bodies, our own minds, our own lives, our community, and humanity. And this is for the greatest good. This is for the greatest good of all, to be doing this work right now, to bring our brothers and sisters back into contact with the spirit, to be the conduits for this connection to never be lost again. And we can do it. We are doing it. I believe in every single one of us. It's up to us to hear those calls, to pick up the phone from Great Spirit and to follow the instructions, to step from the ordinary into the special world. It's our destiny. It's the beauty way. It's why we're here. It's what we came to be a part of. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. The guests that I have coming onto this podcast are just divine, pure, beautiful souls that emanate this frequency I'm talking about. And we can all learn so much from them. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here at this moment precisely to inspire the sacred visionaries and guardians of a truly unified spiritual culture. So whoever you are that is listening, wherever you are on your journey, I believe you've got great work to do. I believe you have so much to share with your community, your family. I believe that we have been sent here at this specific time to uplift others, to empower each other, to learn, to love, to heal, to grow, to ultimately evolve together in a safe and supportive, loving, connected community, a tribe. It's happening. It's a movement. We are a part of it. And we're creating massive ripples across the planet, radically healing our planet, our home, hopefully saving and preserving our beautiful Mother Earth. So I trust you are here for a divine calling, for a specific reason. Maybe it's just for a season. I thank you for being here. I honor you. I'd like to just share something from my journal, as I said, that was recorded when this all started for me and came online back in August of 2021 is when I recorded this at a very beautiful place. If you don't know where Karajini in Western Australia is, It's this beautiful, magical oasis in the middle of the Red Desert. It's about 16 hours north of Perth, and just somewhere that I've journeyed many times solo, vision questing with medicine, and just had the most profound experience. And this was one of those. This was the first one, actually. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm grateful to have gone through another upgrade during my time here at Karajin. Thank you to my teachers of psilocybin, ayahuasca, and the spirit realm. I have a greater knowing and wisdom that my sacred purpose here is to uplift consciousness. And we do this together by coming home to ourselves and to our mother and great spirit. Everything we ever need is abundant for us in Gaia. And my role here is to remind others of the truth that we are one and we are Mother Earth. Our internal world is a reflection of her and vice versa. Our higher consciousness that we can tap into is only useful when we can harness it and ground it into the here and now on the earth. It is essential to learn to embody this higher knowing and high frequency energy so that we can raise the vibration of the planet. Grounding is an essential practice and a vital part of this great awakening. Ultimately, our divine expression, our truth at the core of everything is love, love, love. The presence, the existence, the consciousness, the bliss, all that is manifested and unmanifested, we can remember and accept that we are just a soul having a human experience, and that everything we are experiencing in these moments is interconnected. It's chaotic, it's dark, it's challenging, and for good reason. We're going through a rebirth. Mother Earth is purging, and so are we, and bringing all that doesn't serve her to the surface, into the light, to be reborn and transmuted into something more beautiful. We can all trust in this process. It is all a part of a plan to create a brand new Earth, and it is up to us to be change makers and Earth warriors. Within all of this uncertainty and chaos, we must accept and acknowledge this is evolution. The solution is simple. The process is going to take its course, and it must get dark before it becomes light again. However, our greatest freedom is to choose. The word choose came through constantly during this initiation. We all have the power to choose. We have a choice at all times, in all moments. We can choose love or fear. We can choose our habits, behaviors, actions, values, relationships. We choose our path and how we walk it. We can choose to be consumed by money, fame, or materialism, or we can choose to have enough, to be enough, and to live simply, following natural law. All of this is just a cycle, and there are aspects that we all must go through. This is the hero's journey, a cyclic process symbolic for the global shift that we are going through in consciousness. The guides made it very clear to me that we must all work together to continue bringing each other back to the truth of our existence, to the presence and the love that connects us all. And I must work collaboratively with other souls who are aware of this truth to bring the masses back into oneness, back into harmony with nature, close to source, and to be able to live with a spiritually unified culture. And being in nature is the solution. And so as I laid upon the rock here, having a purge and listening to the birds, grandmother ayahuasca, white buffalo medicine woman, the trees all around me, the higher planes of consciousness, Everything demonstrated this one universal truth. We must just keep choosing to light the way. We will reach critical mass point and the light will prevail. We must support one another and coexist. We must work as a unified tribal consciousness. And it is essential that I remember my sacred mission and remind my allies of theirs to always choose the habits that are in service to the highest good of all. We are learning, loving, growing, and healing, and this is lighting and leading the way for humanity. It's time to evolve. So from my heart to yours, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, in the reviews. Please share. The next episode will be my first interview, and that will be with my beautiful brother and friend, Puma Freddy Kispe Singona, live from his Andean medicine school in Chinchero, Peru, where we speak about collective consciousness, our cosmic connection to the stars and the ancestors, master plants, and his beautiful journey and unraveling as a shaman and a medicine man, a priest, a Paco. So tune into that. My heart to yours.